Okay, after doing overhead presses, my trap on one side rating up my neck always gets stiff and it hurts a bit the next day. What am I doing wrong? Yeah, really good question. This is particularly common. I have a tremendous amount of experience with this one. So there can be a few things that kind of happen with this. Um, the main one in terms of from an actual positioning point of view, what can often happen is that radiating thing that goes up the neck is generally coming from your scalenes. So what happens is when you do the overhead press, you're there, as you push it over your head, you lean forward like that, and you get that strain there. You get that fucking like giraffe neck thing happening like every time you sort of do it. Um, that could be the main one. And like when you strain that, it just like you try and turn your head and shit like that. And you're like, oh, I feel like a robot. You're like really get in there and sort of stuff out. That from a positioning point of view is kind of the main one that I see with overhead presses. Um, the other one is actually to do with a little bit more upper back mobility. So obviously, like when you're here, we need our scapulars to like kind of inwardly rotate, and then as we press, they outwardly rotate as we extend up through the movement. If you're a bit more jacked up there, you don't have as much thoracic mobility in terms of extension that way. So obviously when you go to push up, those they can be a little bit tighter in there, and then they kind of don't fire. And often what will happen, because you're not depressing the scapula to maintain that, you'll end up getting a little bit of elevation there because you can't maintain that depression. It's the same thing we see in bench press. Like you want to retract the shoulder blade, depress the scapula. So as the bar comes down, we're thinking about constantly, like our shoulder blades, we're constantly trying to keep them pulled down. So as the bar comes down, the shoulder is going to be more stable and we're going to be able to generate more power. But if we lose that scapular depression, we get that happening, right? So the bar comes down, we get that kind of rolling like that, and you see the trap just elevate like that, and then we end up sort of trying to press like this. Same sort of thing with overhead press. We really want to, like when we start, retract, pull it down, stay in that arch position, and make sure we're pressing and keeping those scapulars down as much as possible, so that when you're pressing, everything's staying stable. If you lose it and you get that, and you press up, you can get that kind of overactive trap where it's just like everything's bunched and you're trying to push up through that. That can often have that kind of effect. Then if you end up doing it where you get the elevation plus the neck thing, so it can really get a bit gross. So they're generally the two things that I've found to be. Another thing too is I think I talk about this in the tutorial, but for me, and this is just my personal thing, when you grab the bar, like for an overhead press, I always wrap my thumb over the bar. Because when you grip it like that, you engage a lot more of your forearm extensors, and you actually lose, for me personally, I find you actually lose a bit of mobility through this range here. But as soon as you wrap your thumb over, all of a sudden you've got more range through your scapulars, so you can maintain that a lot easier. If I could bench like that, like I would actually find myself being able to maintain scapular depression a little bit more, but you don't want to bench like that because the thumb kind of keeps the bar in your hands, and they call that a suicide grip, which isn't obvious reasons. Bar slips out and cracks you on the face, not going to be fun. So a little bit different in an overhead press. If you've got less thing, it'll just fall in front of you. But that can be something, if you're not doing that already, wrapping your thumb over. Make sure you have your wrist wraps on to keep your wrist rigid. Wrap your thumbs over the bar, can keep a little bit more scapular depression, a bit more mobility there as you press over. I think I say it in the tutorial, I can't quite remember, but they're the things I would look out for. And then just making sure that you're warming up before you do those, like the stick dislocate or the band dislocates are fantastic before doing any pressing in general, really. I always like to, I'll do the stick dislocate, I'll do the band pull apart, and I will do sort of a dumbbell pull over, because the dumbbell pull over is forcing you to engage the scapular depression as you pull through. So that's a really good warm up to kind of get that activated. And then after that, I'll actually do a couple of sets of lat pull downs, just like some, neutral grip pull downs, and then some face pulls, just to like really kind of warm up the shoulders a little bit more, create a bit more range of motion. I don't really talk about that with you guys. I kind of just stick to the band pull aparts or whatever we sort of stick to. But like that's very an instinctive thing. Like for me, I just like, I think I'll do some pull downs, and then I'm like, yeah, cool. I'll do some cobra, I'll do some face pulls, or I might need to just do a few more sets of hip dislocates. Like it is a bit of an instinctive thing. So I think after you've done those main ones, if you want to add in some back work, some upper back work, just to get a little bit more range through your upper back and shoulders, I think that would be pretty useful as well. So